I became a slave in my daughter's house. Episode 1. In a quiet neighborhood on the outskirts of Lagos, the air smelled of frying beans cake, a scent that hung over the small, tin-roofed home of Nnenna Okafor. Nnenna was a single mother whose life had been riddled with hardship, yet she carried herself with the determination of a lioness. Each day began before dawn, her hands working tirelessly to prepare her akara beans cake, the only source of livelihood she had to feed her daughter, Ada, and keep her in school. Igo, hold on, Nnenna called to her neighbor and best friend, Igo, as she wiped her hands on her tattered wrapper. Igo had just arrived, her bright yellow blouse a stark contrast to Nnenna's faded clothing. "Oh, Nnenna, you're always busy," Igo said with a chuckle, sitting on the wooden bench by the akara stand. Igo was the one person Nnenna trusted with her thoughts and fears. Every day after the morning rush, they would sit together, sipping pap, and Nnenna would recount her worries about Ada's future. "She's my only hope," Nnenna said with a wistful smile. "I know Ada will make me proud one day. All this suffering won't be in vain." Igo nodded, but something flickered in her eyes, something Nnenna never noticed, a quiet unease that brewed each time Nnenna spoke of her daughter's potential. Ada, a sharp and beautiful young woman, was the jewel of Nnenna's life. Despite their poverty, Ada excelled in her studies, often staying up late into the night with a candle stub to prepare for exams. Nnenna would sit by her side, watching her with a mixture of pride and longing. "I must finish school, Mama," Ada often said. "When I graduate, you'll never have to fry akara again." Those words were the balm to Nnenna's weary soul. She believed them with every fiber of her being, even as she battled the relentless grip of poverty. But one evening, as Nnenna sat with Igo outside their home, frying the last batch of akara for the day, a man approached the stall. He was tall, well-dressed, and exuded an aura of wealth that immediately set him apart. "Good evening," he said, his voice smooth. "I'm looking for Ada." Nnenna blinked in surprise. "You're looking for my daughter? What for?" The man smiled. "My name is Chidi. I've been seeing her at the university. She's quite brilliant. I wanted to speak with you, Mom." Igo's eyes widened as she exchanged a quick glance with Nnenna. Chidi continued, explaining his admiration for Ada's intelligence and determination. It was clear he was not just a passing admirer, he was smitten. When Ada returned home that night, her mother shared the encounter, and her daughter's cheeks flushed with embarrassment. "Mama, he's just a friend," Ada insisted, though her eyes betrayed a spark of excitement. Igo, however, seemed unusually quiet that evening. As Nnenna walked her back to her house, she couldn't help but notice her friend's forced smile. "You're lucky, Nnenna," Igo said suddenly. "Ada is a good girl. But be careful, These rich men don't always mean well." Nnenna laughed lightly. "Igo, you worry too much. My Ada knows what she's doing." But as she lay in bed that night, a gnawing unease crept into her thoughts. Could Igo be right? Months turned into a whirlwind of events. Chidi was not just wealthy, he was one of the richest men in Lagos, the heir to a sprawling empire. His relationship with Ada blossomed, and before long, he proposed. Nnenna couldn't believe her luck. She watched with tears of joy as her daughter married into wealth, moving into a mansion that seemed like a dream. Igo was by her side at the wedding, smiling and clapping, but her eyes were dark pools of something unspoken. When Ada invited her mother to live with her and Chidi, Nnenna's life changed overnight. She left behind her akara stand, trading it for the opulence of a life she had never imagined. The mansion was a palace, with marble floors and chandeliers that glittered like stars. Ada showered her mother with gifts, ensuring she wanted for nothing. But not everyone celebrated Nnenna's newfound fortune. "She's forgotten her roots," Igo whispered to another neighbor one evening. "Living like a queen now, as if she didn't suffer with the rest of us." Jealousy coiled around Ego's heart like a snake. She couldn't bear to see Nnenna's joy, couldn't bear the praise Ada brought to her mother. It wasn't fair. One fateful day, Ego visited the mansion under the guise of friendship. She brought Nnenna a basket of fruit and spent hours chatting with her. But behind her warm smile, Ego's mind was plotting. "It's a beautiful house," she said, her voice laced with envy. "Ada has done well for herself." Nnenna beamed. "She has. God has blessed me through her." But as Ego left that evening, she made a silent vow. Nnenna's happiness had to end. Weeks after Nnenna moved into her daughter's mansion, Ego's jealousy simmered into a boiling rage. She could no longer mask the bitterness that consumed her. It wasn't just about Nnenna's newfound comfort, no, it was the constant praise Nnenna heaped on Ada that stung the most. Every time Nnenna said, "My Ada is my greatest blessing," it felt like a dagger twisting in Ego's chest. "She's forgotten that we suffered together," Ego muttered one evening, pacing in her modest one-bedroom apartment. Her mind churned with dark thoughts until an idea crept in, sinister and insistent. She would take matters into her own hands. The next morning, Ego wrapped herself in a brightly patterned akara wrapper and set out on a journey. She traveled to a village far from their neighborhood, where whispers of a powerful spiritualist had reached her ears. The spiritualist, a stooped old man with piercing eyes, sat in the dimly lit confines of his shrine. The air was thick with the smell of incense and herbs. Skulls of animals lined the walls, and a pot simmered over a fire, its contents bubbling ominously. Ego knelt before him, her head bowed low. "Baba, I need your help. I have an enemy whose happiness must be taken away." The man studied her with an unnerving intensity. "What has this enemy done to you?" Ego hesitated, then lied. "She has humiliated me, Baba. She flaunts her wealth and mocks my suffering. I want her to feel pain, to suffer as I have suffered." The spiritualist nodded slowly. "It will be done, but the price will be heavy." "I will pay it," Ego said without hesitation. The man instructed her to bring a piece of Nnenna's clothing, along with a few strands of her hair. Once the ritual is done, her life will crumble. Her greatest source of joy will turn into her greatest sorrow. Ego's heart thudded with dark excitement as she returned home, her mind racing with plans. To be continued.